the Go Berserk with Email podcast with Navy nuclear engineer turned email software developer, Troy Broussard. So calm.
I'm pissed off, but I'm telling this because I am teaching you how to think differently and how to test differently.
So patient.
And Ben, that's put $500,000 into this company too, is being told that nobody can find the goddamn bug.
So charitable.
I'm going to start paying bounties every time somebody finds a bug. We're going to deduct $10 for that week.
So trusting.
Do not assume that anything works. Assume that nothing works.
And so sweet, it makes sugar taste just like salt.
I want to play into the sexiness of marketing automation, but I also want to slap the complexity of it.
The Go Berserk with Email podcast begins now.
So this is a fact here. This is a fact. You're coming in as this is really happening. Troy loves alliteration, and I want to know why. Why do you love alliteration? How to market to an apathetic audience. I don't know if that's going to be the real name of it, but as soon as you said it, I liked it. Why?
I just feel that things that roll off the tongue like that with alliteration, they cause you to pause. They cause you to pay attention, and it resonates a little more. If it's really subtle, like apathetic audience is kind of subtle. It doesn't, it's not really too over the top. Then you don't really even know why you're kind of drawn into it. It's really subtle behind the scenes, and that's fine. But when it's really over the top, then it really sticks, right? And then it stands out, and it makes people pause and like think, wow, that's a crazy way of saying it. Why the heck is he saying that? And what it really does is make you stand out. It makes it memorable. So I like to do things that create memories, that create connections. I'll say things like dastardly dichotomy and, do these different things where it's just using the alliteration to get people's attention, and it draws them in a little bit. So yeah, it's, we all have our style. It's just one of the styles that I've developed over the years, and I stick to it, man. I stay in my lane.
Well, then I guess that leads right into today's topic, doesn't it?
There you go. Right. So this was a question that came in on one of the live streams that I do. I occasionally host some stuff with Ben and some of the other owners of Learnistic and Berserker Mail, and we do some kind of back and forth. And this question came in. It's like, how do I market to an uninterested, an audience that they really don't know they want my product, etc. And, the first answer is the most obvious one, and that is you don't.
Right.
Find
a new market, man.
Right. Find a new market. This is the most important response of all, because there's so many people that are interested, but I think you have to go a little more deep with this, right? And not just a trivial trite response, because if your audience is apathetic about what you're doing, then here's the thing that you have to say to yourself, and it's not fun, okay? But you need to walk into the bathroom, look in the mirror, and say, you screwed up as you're looking in the mirror. Because here's the thing. You have to have radical ownership of this, right? You have to be accountable for it. If your audience is apathetic to what you're offering, then you're friggin' boring them to death, or, something is going on there, right? Or you're not tapping into pain points, or you don't know the language of your audience. You don't know the keywords, the buzzwords, the topics. Like, you're jacking this shit up if your audience is apathetic. It's all your fault. And I say that, to myself as well. So don't think that I'm picking on you on the other end of this podcast, but it is your fault. It's your list. You built it. It's your offer. It's your messaging. It's all you. So if it's not working and the audience is apathetic, then man, you gotta mix it up. Either A, give up and just go in a different direction because you're just not resonating, or go deep within your audience and understand what the heck it is that actually motivates them. What are their pain points? What are their emotional triggers? And when you can get inside that conversation inside your prospect's head, the things that keep them up at night, the things that they worry about, the pain points that they're really truly having, then they're not going to be apathetic. So, this didn't gain me a lot of popularity on the live response when I told this to the guy. But if your audience is apathetic, man, you got to look in the mirror. You're screwing it up. You got to go in a different direction. You got to mix it up. And you got to, first of all and foremost, take 100% radical accountability of it. You are the reason, not them. Don't blame, oh, this is crappy traffic I got from Instagram or whatever. No. You're the one that ran the ads. You're the one that did the targeting. You're the one that wrote the copy that didn't do a good enough job of filtering out the wrong people. So take ownership for it. Go back, reverse engineer the path of how they got onto your list. And this is a great way of doing it, right? It's a great way of approaching it. Go back and look at the last 100 people that joined your list and follow in from where they came from. Go in reverse order and see what brought them to you, and then go back and look at the copy on those lead magnets and sales pages. Did it have enough repulsion copy? Did it have enough limiting and qualifying language to exclude the people that don't belong with you? Did it really address a pain point, right? So you can reverse engineer this process as a engineering mindset kind of person. This is the way I look at it. I look at, how do I reverse engineer the problem to get a solution? And that is what I would say about it, man. It's not what people want to hear, but sometimes you need the painful clarity of understanding that it's you that done screwed up,
I think that we need like a meme, or we need to start collecting these in a book. We're going to call the book Affirmations by Troy.
Oh, no.
And the first thing is, you screwed up.
No, there shall be no affirmations. There might be Stark Reality or Lift the Kilt Candor by Troy or something like that. But there shall be no affirmations, Jonathan. I should smite you just for even using that word on my podcast.
It goes so well to contrast. Come on. I can see the disgust on your face.
Oh my God, you're killing me.
So it's your fault, right? You wrote bad copy. Maybe it was a bad traffic source. And I like the idea that you gave there. And I think that's something that most people will likely overlook. And it's a throwaway line for you, which that's what I find interesting about hanging out with guys like you. Your throwaway lines are like fantastic new information for the rest of us. But that idea of going back, and I have a name for this. I use this in everything I do. I have an after action report. So when I do a campaign, when I do a video, whatever, I do an email, after action report. And that's exactly it. Go back, trace the steps, see what works, see what didn't, see what we could do differently. And the other part, and I think this is a part most people will miss, the stuff that worked. Hey, see if we can do that again.
Yeah.
Can we do that again?
Most people, they got a great success. So of course they never do it again. Right.
Right.
That they're on to the next tactic du jour instead of just repeating and refining what actually works. Well, this is you say I threw it out there as a throwaway line, but for me, just so you know the truth about this, I mean, I've gone so deep in this topic, I've written an entire book about it, calling Debriefing the Debrief. And it's really about the debrief process and how to structure that in your business so that you do exactly what you just said, which is what I refer to as a military debrief, right? I was never a fighter in the sense of like a fighter pilot or anything like that in the military. I was a submariner, so we didn't have a lot of mission debriefs, but pilots are famous for this in the military, of going out on a mission and coming back. Operators, a good friend of mine who's a Navy SEAL and talks all about how their after mission debriefs. And, you might have, as a pilot, you might have a 2-hour mission and you might have 16 hours of debriefs over the next 2 days going through everything. And mission debriefs are critical because you learn what you did right, you learn what you did wrong, what you could have done better. You uncover unique sources of information that you had not considered, etc. And so debriefing is a very critical part of your business, debriefing any process that you put in place. And critical enough, like I said, that I devoted an entire book in the Memoirs of Mastery volumes to talk about it. So yeah, it's something near and dear to my heart for sure.
Did I take you off track? Does that still count for marketing to these audiences?
Yeah, it counts, man. It absolutely counts. How do you get through to the apathetic? Well, the truth of the matter is you've got to either lose them or win them over. And if you're going to win them over and you're not doing a good job of it, then you got to try something different. You got to go from a different tactic, a different approach, and make yourself stand out to them. Be a leader, be an innovator, position yourself as somebody worth listening to, and perhaps they'll listen.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we're wrapping up, any parting thoughts for the Go Berserkers out there?
So the first thing you've got to understand is that it takes iteration. Mastery takes iteration. You're in business to make money. I understand that, but you have to realize that every step of the process, you need to generate a lot of iterations, and that just means a lot of experience. So don't look at this as a failure. Look at it as something you've learned not to do and something that you've learned that you can do a better way. So then use what we talked about here. Go back and do a debrief, walk your way through it, reverse engineer it, come up with an approach and put it to work. But understanding that as long as you have a quality audience and a quality product, it's about you doing enough iterations to be able to connect those two dots. And it may take some legwork. It may take some experimentation. And it may not just be the message, but it also may be the medium. You may find that it resonates much better in a podcast or than it does in a YouTube. Or you might find that this particular offer really connects well on Instagram. So understand that iteration is not only content, but medium as well.
All right. Listen to that, man. That is another episode of the Go Berserk with the Email Show. Wrapping up. Thank you guys for tuning in, and thank you, Troy, for enlightening us.
To get a free Berserker Mail test drive with no credit card required, go to startmytestdrive.com. From there, you can play around inside the platform without pressure. Load up emails and campaigns to see how simple the interface is, and get comfy with everything before deciding to join. That's startmytestdrive.com.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.